We gather here for a purpose we have a challenging relationship with, a bright, vibrant, explosively amazing, loving, giving soul has jumped ship suddenly with no chance for us to prepare for that or think about that. In our world, in our way of thinking and being, we have a really lopsided relationship to this thing of the departure of a soul. When one enters the body, we rejoice. We throw parties. We celebrate. But one drops the body and is free, we have so much focus on the loss of that presence in our lives, that physical being, that our attention, our emotions get caught there. And we don't get to celebrate the freedom of the soul to the next thing. Tina believed that. She knew that. That was a truth to her. We had occasions of the transitions of other beloveds in our life to discuss this matter. She was afraid of being sick, but she was not afraid of moving on. And so, it may have felt too soon for us, but it was right on time for her. So let us continue to have her give the amazing gift she always gave of opening our eyes, opening our hearts, serving us, and be present to that which she would want us to be present to. She loved to take a trip. She was a traveler. You can bet she packed her bags. It is June in Austin, Texas. Look at where you are. There's not a wedding here today. She booked it in advance. Those of us who've been in a dance together, an unplanned dance of bringing us to this ritual, really have the experience of we're just following her. Like a queen bee leaves a little scent in the air that makes the bees all organize and go in the right direction. Each one of us giving our gift, doing the part we can do. I am somebody who has planned many events, and you couldn't plan this. My name is Marie Case. Tina was a beloved sister, a dear friend, a fellow traveler, a spiritual sister, and we were members together of the Tall Women's Tribe. I have a picture of her in my pajamas. She's one of the few people who could wear my pajamas. And they were long enough for her. This crossing over service, this celebration and release of Tina, it's going to have a lot of waves in it. And there will be no single eulogy. We will celebrate her together, both in the service and out of the service. This is a time to share our stories of her. I know her better today than I did a week ago. In preparing for today, I went to her house and got to sit there by myself. And, I just walked in and said, "Okay, girl, talk to me. What do I need to know? Use me. What do you want in this gathering of your beloved diverse communities from around the world?" And she said, "Open that drawer, look on that bookshelf, look under that pile." And suddenly I had, in my hands her writings, her musings, her journals, her expression in the world. And one of the things that I knew, but I was deeply reminded of, is that for Tina, her spiritual text was Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love, Reflections on the Course in Miracles. She had like 3 clean copies on the bookshelf, like untouched, and one dog-eared and worn, corners of the pages turned down. And in her journals, there would be phrases from the book, and then she would riff. So it's appropriate that our spiritual text for this gathering be hers. And I'm going to start with a reading that she journaled and riffed on. Miracles themselves are not to be consciously directed. They occur as involuntary effects of a loving personality, an invisible force that emanates from someone whose conscious intention is to give and receive love. We know that girl. As we relinquish the fears that block the love within us, we become God's instruments. We become her miracle workers. God, as love, is constantly expanding, flourishing, and creating new patterns for the expression and attainment of joy. When our minds, through focus on love, are allowed to be open vessels through which God expresses, our lives become the canvases for the expression of that joy. That's the meaning of our lives. We are here as physical representations of a divine principle. To say that we're on the earth to serve God means that we're on earth to love. We weren't just randomly thrown onto a sea of rocks. We have a mission: to save the world through the power of love. The world needs healing desperately, like a bird with a broken wing. People know this, and millions have prayed. God heard us, and she sent help. She sent you. She sent Tina. And before we go further, I thought it would be appropriate to hear from Tina directly. So in these piles of things, there was a full sheet that is a prayer, a declaration and a prayer, ending with Amen. And I checked because so many of her things have other people's, so I searched all the phrases. Nope, that's all Tina. So if you will, let us pray. God is the love within me. I embrace the grace that enables me to pray. Let my prayer add to the spirit of oneness, for I believe in the power of my love, forgiveness, and compassion. I experience sweet bliss watching all manner of things converge to assist me in the creation of my desires. I am excited and happy to stand on the brink of what is coming at my creative vantage point, feeling eager and optimistic anticipation, with no feelings of impatience or doubt or unworthiness hindering the receiving of it. I am a wonderful being. There is nothing I cannot achieve. The world addresses itself to me always in positive ways. I live a charmed life. Things are supposed to and always do go well for me, seize part for me. I live in an environment where when I'm inspired to a new thought, as soon as I give birth to it, things align in order to bring me the actualization or the manifestation of it. I am an extension of source energy. I am whole, healthy, balanced, standing in love. I am God in a physical body, and I am good. And being Tina means arriving in that physical body surrounded with love and light and joy. When I leave somewhere, all my light lingers. For I have the capacity to bring comfort and joy with me, and it resounds in my presence. For my spiritual being resides in the heart. I am unconditionally loving. I choose what serves me, and I am enjoying it and embody it. That which I cannot embrace, I change. I live constantly in forgiveness, remembering only the good that was given to me and that I have given to others. I release my expectations and live in a charismatic sparkle that emanates light and love and healing. I'm asking for miracles every day, and I am allowing them to happen. I am grateful for the changes inside, for inner peace and a joyous sea of well-being are what I swim in, and I invite others to join me. I am allowing abundance, wellness, and calm to be my companions, releasing my energy for balance, for forward motion, for creating great works, easily appreciated by the awe-inspiring people around me. I am thriving, I'm shining, basking in my own acceptance of the love surrounding me. I am an empowered being, surrendering to miracles and natural expressions of love, and releasing the power of my mind to the processes of healing and correction. I am meant to tell stories, to love, to grow, to push and open every day to wider avenues of experience. I am here on earth to love, and love more deeply than ever before, opening to my perfection. I am all I need to be as I love in absolutely every moment. I relinquish the fears that block love, and I energize others with my own awakenings. I am made new every day. So shall the will of God and love be done on earth as it is in heaven through love. So be it. Amen. Let us follow that with a moment of silence and listen to her words resonate in our hearts. Amen. I'd like to invite Tina's beloved sisters, Maria and Pamela, to come and share with us.
Tina Diane, center daughter of Alice Messina and Joseph Pumilia, older sister to Maria, younger sister to me, was born in Front Royal, Virginia on the 13th of May, 1963. Not who, but what is Tina? MC of the lives of all she touched. As the center daughter, it was clearly her destiny to be the center of the lives of all who she came in contact with throughout her life. Tina's DNA is such that she had no choice but to redefine the meaning of love. What does that mean? It means each and every one of us is Tina's best friend. Because she is just that to each of us. Tina had so much love coming in that she never ran out. She gave, she got more back. Because of the phenomenon we all know as Tina, the world of each of us is bigger, brighter, and filled with more love than we ever imagined. From her maternal grandmother, a joie de vivre, the spirit of adventure, love, and an anchor. From her mother, our mother, enough love to be able to share that with the rest of the world, and especially those of us who have been lucky to know her.
Tina and I shared a love for Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. And this is my favorite quote from the book. And Tina taught me this in how she lived and how she loved me and all of you. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Thank you, Lauren. We had a dear friend that was beloved to Tina and to me and many of you in this room, who taught us something about a good death and about being excited about the journey on the other side. Some of you know Jeremiah Cunningham. Some of you don't. Many of you will have heard of him. He was a larger-than-life character. One of the gifts he gave us was, before he left, he wrote us a letter to let us know what journey he was on. And Tina and he were very, very, very close. So we thought it'd be appropriate to share that letter with you. Jessica?
One of my favorite things to do was prepare for an important trip. Now I have the privilege to be conscious, to prepare for the ultimate trip, a transition into another reality, another way of being. All the others that I prepared for included my ego and all its insatiable needs. Now I seem to breathe a different breath when imagining this new trip. I get suggestions that startle me to say, where did that come from? Well, no one knows. Some say that just can't be. Some declare it just ain't so. Religions seem to confuse the issue. That is, ecclesiastical hierarchies do. That final little particle of matter has not yet been discovered by our scientists. So I don't put my stock in their declarations that there is no need for a supreme energy to exist. Some choose to call this God, others Allah and Dios. This word, this message, these hints from this undiscovered source finds a place in the heart that is quiet and open like a little child. The Rabbi Yeshua reportedly said that in his Father's kingdom there were many mansions. I count on him as my guide for this transition. Yes, I do believe that he is very real. So when I lie down and breathe slowly to keep my mind from thinking so much, I am so bold as to ask him questions about the mansion in which I will abide. Why not? More than likely, I am like the young child with crayons who is drawing a picture of mommy or daddy, or even God. That's okay with me. I am dealing with agape. Love has no opposite, just as dark is merely the absence of light. So I won't feel intimidated, for he will enjoy my drawing, just as I did when my daughter and son drew those for me. Amazing how much easier it is to be kind and thoughtful more often and with more people. For now, I'm getting to live in my final days on earth with a heart that is willing to be led and taught and nurtured. Amazing grace. But the main gift for me in my end-of-life transition is just to imagine, with an open heart and an unburdened mind, what my new eyes will see as my consciousness continues into another world. First, that there is no lack or limitation. All needs are met. Therefore, no greed, no war, or even thought of killing something or someone. I imagine it will be like holding hands with my friends or my children, feeling really loved and okay. The ego having been replaced by an indefinable something, a primal benevolence that eye has not yet seen, nor has ear heard a clue. And so thinking, I am definitely open for some surprises, like unwrapping a gift from my parents on my 6th birthday.
One thing I learned from Tina, among so many, is that when you make yourself a part of life, life gathers itself up around you. Sometimes I have no idea how to do that, but Tina always kept reaching towards me. Come play baseball. Meet me at the counter. We'd drive around with the top down and talk to strangers. I would have been horrified, but it was her. And no one was a stranger. She teaches me that what matters is to keep showing up, to participate in the life and love that is all around you. It is in that spirit that I offer up this song. Sing or sway or hum or hug or hold hands or dance. Then sing louder. A playboy always needs good nuts. This one's for the greatest. I've asked my friend Dan to sit here with me because I don't know what's going to happen. Blue jean baby, LA lady, seamstress for the band, pretty eye, pirate smile, you marry a music man. Ballerina, you must have seen her dancing in the sand. Now she's in me, always with me, tiny dancer in my hand. Jesus freaks out in the street, handing tickets out for God, turning back, she just laughs. The boulevard is not that bad. Piano man, he makes a stand in the auditorium. Yeah, looking on, she sings her songs, the words she knows, the tune she hums. Oh, how it feels so real, lying here with no one near, only you. And you can hear me when I sing softly, slowly. Hold me close dancer, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Blue jean baby, LA lady, seems just for the band. Pretty eyed, pirate smile. You marry a music man. Ballerina, you must have seen her dancing in the sand. And now she's in me, always with me. Tiny dancer in my hand. Oh, how it feels so real, lying here with no one near, only you. I know you can hear me when I sing softly, slowly. Hold me close, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Hold me close, tiny dancer. Count the
Oh, I wonder why they didn't ask me to speak, given that it's a room full of her best friends. There's going to be a couple of opportunities to say what's in your heart today. I'm going to ask Marnie to kick us off. If you know you want to speak, please go stand over there so that we can kind of have a flow. Okay?
They asked me to throw out the first pitch. My name is Marnie Castor, and I am Tina's best friend. So in the week passing, I have heard the same story told from different mouths. And this is my version of that same story. I first laid eyes on Tina Pumilia when I was driving across the country. I was otherwise broken down emotionally. You know, I'd hit a dead end in Venice Beach, California, where I came from, and I had nowhere else to go but to drive across country alone by myself to figure out where I wanted to go next. And I happened to be at Justine's, and this woman walks up, and she, in short, was magnificent. Tina Pumilia was magnificent. Her style and her energy, and I thought, wow, who is that? And on my way back to California, I stopped in at a friend's house, and she said, you have to meet this woman. I think you'll get along. And it was Tina. And I saw her, and I was like, I saw you 2 months ago, and I thought you were great. And I told her that I was done, that I was leaving, that I needed to run away. And she said, come to Austin. And she told me of the story of how she was a vagabond for 3 years, had all her things in storage, and traveled around until she too settled in Austin, Texas. And I thought, I can trust this woman. And we exchanged emails. She told me that she had a place for me to house sit for 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks, and I was scared to death to leave California. I was terrified. Somebody said to me, 45-year-old women don't just up and leave to a place they know nothing about, Marnie. So I wrote her an email, a woman that I knew all of 4 hours. I'm scared. It's raining here in California, and I'm terrified. Don't let me forget that I love Austin. And she wrote in all caps, you will not forget. We are here and holding our breath for your return. I think that might have been of an exaggeration because really nobody knew me. Banish the clouds from the sky and head. Return to the end of the Great Plains where winds carry them off before you can be dismayed. XOXO. Too little sleep and off to brunch. More later. So I had Tina's house. I had nowhere to go. I came here in a Subaru, and I stayed at Tina's house for 2 weeks. I had nowhere to live. I had no job, nothing. And I landed in Tina's house, which, if any of you have not seen it, it's positively opulent. And I sat in this big bed, but at the time was in the living room, and I stared at all her things, and I thought, my God, wow, this is amazing. And when Tina came back, she immediately put me to work to drive 2 of her Italian friends all around Austin to their healers. And so there was me and these 2 marvelous ladies, and we're listening to these great songs, and we're singing along together. And then the next thing I knew, I was over at Tina's house almost every night eating pasta and all these wonderful dishes that the ladies cooked. I just had bullet notes. She took me to dinner with her sister, Pamela. I've known her for like a month or 2, and she's introducing me everywhere. And I want to say that the best New Year's Eve I had was at Tina's house, where we did a puzzle. just a bunch of friends sat around and rang in the new year by trying to complete this giant puzzle before midnight, which we did. And then we grabbed pots and pans out of her kitchen and stood out into the yard and banged pots and pans, ringing in the new year. She hired me to transfer some photos from her computer, and I want to say this, Tina hated computers and she hated her phone. She hated her computers and she hated her phone, and for someone with so much light and so much grounding, I have never seen a person like that fall apart at the seams, brought to her knees by inanimate objects. Tina's outgoing message was verbose. There, I said it. But I think in absentia, she wanted to make you feel held. It's okay, you're gonna be okay. Her incoming message came in at a minute flat, the short ones. Other ones were 2 minutes long. We went to the Kyle flea market together. She was measured in her purchases, and I was mad. And spastic, that is. And until the two things she wanted to buy, until the vendor pissed her off, and then she didn't want to buy them from the vendor anymore, and she says, I'll never shop here again. Tina was opinionated. I served her tomatoes one time, and she said, oh no, I don't eat tomatoes unless they're from Sicily in the summertime in Italy. I said, oh, then I'll have the tomatoes. And I want to say that I drove to Dallas to get a car, a sure thing, the same Murano. She's like, I got to get this car. So in the middle of the week, in the middle of the afternoon, Tina and I drove to Dallas. She needed me to drive the car back. And we looked at the car. You know, it smelled like a used car. It was on this used car lot. And then it had some rips in the top. And she said, I want to know that the top is insured. And they're like, the car is insured, ma'am, the car. She said, no, I know these cars. I've had these cars for my whole life, and I need to know, and she was very adamant, and everybody just looked at her and didn't know what to say. We turned around without the car. Tina is Austin to me. There is no Austin without Tina for me. There is no Austin without Tina for me. And I think it was her design, maybe her cosmic design, to thrust me into the middle of all of this death and dying mishigas. But I will say, thanks to Tina, I have friends. I have friends now. And if it weren't for Tina, I would have no friends. And I want to leave you with just this poem. It's called The Epitaph. It's called Epitaph. It starts off like this, and I think it sums up Tina the best. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Thank you.
My name is Molly Omelchuk, and hello, all of Tina's best friends. I thought maybe some of y'all might be interested to hear how Tina came to Austin, and that is a story that I can tell you. She had left her position at Banana Republic in New York City, and she secured a job, I guess you'd call it, for a music festival that was being held in Acapulco, Mexico, as the merchandising director. And she lived there for 3 years, working with Mr. Fancy Pants and a lot of other people. And I got a phone call from my friend Tom in Austin saying, hey, my friend Melissa is working this music festival in Acapulco, and they need hands. They are desperate for someone to come down right away and do this backstage stuff. And I said, I'm a massage therapist. I can do that. I have a flexible schedule. So I flew down to Acapulco, and it was a really crazy situation to build a 5-stage concert venue on Virgin Beach with no electricity or running water or anything. There were lots of minor disasters and a few major disasters, but we pulled it all together. The festival started happening, and then and I met Tina during that time, and we would paint things together, and we knew each other as acquaintances at that point. And then a typhoon came and wiped out the entire venue on concert night, and it was an evacuation. And so after the evacuation, everyone centered in Acapulco itself, which is a bay, and the concert was on the beachfront. So all of the kids, 90,000 kids gathered for this festival, came into downtown Acapulco, and they placed some of the DJs and bands in nightclubs just to give them something to do. Well, Tom, who set me up with this job, had flown in for the festival, so Tom, myself, and Tina were trying to get into a nightclub that was so packed that we got lifted up a stairwell on top of people to get to the top. And so we made it into the venue, and then we started feeling really nervous and scared because the kids were rioting in the streets because their concert was blown away. And so we decided to leave. So after working so hard to get in there, we got out of there. Tina had a lot of rank with this festival. She had a driver, which was fabulous. So we decided to go to her apartment, and we stopped at what would be the Mexican equivalent of a 7-Eleven to get a 6-pack of beer. She steps out of the car, steps in a hole, and breaks her foot. So then we went to the pharmacy and got some medicines and ice, and Tom and I patched her up and elevated her foot and kind of took care of her. And after that, she went home to Virginia and stayed with Mother Messina and healed up. Oh, and during that time, she said, I always thought I wanted to live in Austin. And I said, come on down. And after she had healed her foot, she conferred with her New York and California friends and her mother, who all thought Austin was a good idea because she was at loose ends. And a few weeks later, she arrives at my door, drives up in her convertible Miata, sticks her big head of hair through the door, waving a whirly popcorn maker, and says, I'm here. and I found her home to live in. My friends John and Meredith at 84 Navasota were ready to sell their house, but they only wanted to sell it to a great person. And I said, I have just the gal for you. And so it never went on the market, and she bought it and moved in to scenic Eastside Austin, as you know. And a few years later, I was ready to buy a house, and she found me my house 1 block away. And so I've had the privilege to live a block away from everybody's best friend, Tina. And that's my story.
Hi, I'm Natalie, also Tina's best friend. And thank you, Austin, for making all her friends from the various coasts and cities that she had friends make us feel so welcome. And I'm so overjoyed at how much love she had here. So I also told her, go to Austin. You don't want to go to New York. You don't like LA. Go to Austin. And she loved it. But now I see why. So thanks for loving her. I'll try to make it short. Tina first moved to Los Angeles in about 1987. I had my very first job in a textile design studio, and she walked in about a week later. And it was a dreary job. They were mean and they were cheap, and they used to wash their paintbrushes in our coffee. So after about 2 weeks of it, she said, this sucks, I'm quitting. And I walked her to her car, and I said, let's stay in touch. So we did. I quit a week later, and we became shop girls at a a designer's little store on Melrose, and we started throwing lavish dinner parties on paltry shop girl, paychecks. And we went nightclubbing every night for free. We just got in, I don't know, it happened. We went to art shows. Anyways, we just had a really good life, and we were just poor girls. And her family embraced me. Thank you. And my family embraced her. They were all in Los Angeles. Animals loved her. All dogs peed on the floor when she came over. Couldn't hold it. Kitties crawled up to her. She taught everyone in her circle to be themselves. With her joie de vivre, she did speak some French. She spent a year there. She made it safe for all of us to express fully what we felt, whether it was happy, sad, or mad. It was actually safe to do so with her. She was always up for a dance and always cheering for us, friends. She was cheering for us in our art, in our business endeavors, in our sports teams, in our rock bands. We thank our friend Tina for being the bon vivant that she was and is. Some friends will open up your heart, and Tina burst mine open with joy. Thank you.
Say something. Say you love Aunt Tina. You still want to talk? She says she doesn't want to talk. She's very hot. You can change your mind. I don't want. You want to? Okay. I don't want. Okay. Thank you.
Tina would love that I'm going to try and read this from my telephone. I'm not very good at speaking just like that. I met Tina at Banana Republic in the corporate design office, plainly dressed and totally unadorned. She worked at a desk that was often assigned to someone else, where we were asked to make art from esoteric vagaries and to believe that something just short of the end of the world would come if we didn't meet the deadline for the t-shirt designs. Frequently, people were dismissed at the end of the day, and they were never, ever, ever seen again. She assumed responsibility for making sure that everyone had the right coffee order or a bit of something that she picked up from the bakery on her way to work. She established herself as efficient and clever, if technically challenged, wildly creative and talented, and that she had the grit and the savvy to eventually rise to a position of prestige and power in that intensely competitive corporate environment. We met after long, long, long days over cloth-covered tables in a dim, almost always empty turn-of-the-century bar down the block from our 54th and Madison Avenue office. This was where I discovered Tina's full, unbridled, joy-kindling laugh while we smoked cigarettes and told stories and gossiped and sipped vodka martinis and ate bowl after bowl of cocktail nuts in place of dinner. Before long, she was handing me a scarf for my hair and welcoming me onto the leather seat beside her, as well as both of my dogs, into her ridiculously large, rusted beige Olds Delta 88 convertible. Tina's car, like her sisters, Pam and Maria, her mom, Alice, her aunt in Vermont, Mumsy, Grandma Fishback, and her friends from Parsons and Norway and France and England and the farm where she grew up in Fauquier County, Culpeper, Virginia, which she had to teach me to pronounce, was imbued with fascinating and almost mythical, colorful personality, and I felt like I was being swept away into the unfolding of some epic novel. I'm skipping some. When I met my husband, Tina fell in love alongside of me as only a dear, dear, dear friend can do. She celebrated my joy and had as much hope in my future as I did. She crashed weddings and spared no expense to be with me and made mixtapes for the life events that she could not attend. She was Aunt Tina, dear Aunt Tina to my children. She loved all of my extended family and all of my pets like they were her own. She turned every gathering into a dazzling banquet, every outing into an adventurous, pampered excursion. She turned just like she turned every thrift store shift or blouse into a cutting-edge ensemble. She beckoned me to faraway places, sent me postcards and photographs when I could not go. She watched and listened to me and found those things in me that made me mythic and colorful and fantastic, like the rest of the wondrous people she drew to her. She taught me to cook, to believe, to adorn myself, to laugh loudly, to nurture my body and my soul, and to be impulsive, to talk to horses, that fun and peace and beauty can be found everywhere if you make the effort to feel the wind in your hair, listen for the music, savor the flavors, and turn your gaze to the sea or the tree or the mountains or the stars. She could make herself welcome and loved by anyone, anywhere. She has been my confidant, my guide, my champion, my solace, and my very best friend also for 25 years. And that's the most remarkable thing about Tina, that she was that and more to all of us. We thought we would grow to old together, dear Tina, but you will live through us so strongly, and we will continue to touch others with your spirit. We are so grateful that you loved us all so well.
Hello, my name is Jack Sanders. I'm the manager of the Texas Playboys Baseball Club, and I probably owe some explanation to what top nut means. If y'all heard about that. Before I go there, and thank you for this line to take some of the pressure off of me, my co-best friends here. She was also my best friend and also my realtor, and I want to just tell one story about that really quickly. Is 5 years ago, I told Tina that I did not have the money to do what I wanted to do. I did not have financing in place. The project that I wanted to do was called The Long Time, and it was going to take a long time, and she wasn't going to get paid for this for a long time. I think she understood that part. I told her that I had a dream, and she would pick me up weekly, and we would in her convertible, and we have looked at every flat piece of land from Red Rock to Copeland, Texas, and she always brought snacks from Whole Foods, which I thought was, pretty far out of the way for this journey we were about to take. But, the intensity of that search has continued, and it goes on now. Even this morning, like many of you, I'm sure you got your MLS update this morning, and so we're still looking for that project. But it was very selfless, and it was like so many of you, she was helping me do something that I wanted to do, and I wanted to share. And I also want to thank whoever brought her to the Texas Playboys, because I'm not sure I know where. It just kind of happened. But top nut or nut of the year, our booster club, we called Playboys Nuts with an exclamation point at the end. And I think the whole concept was designed with Tina in mind. She was at every game. Most every game. She supported all of the players. She's never known the score. She has no idea how terrible the baseball gets. I like to think of the Playboys as slow baseball, kind of like slow food, seasonal, organic, local, and just slow. She was always there. She had, always there for the team. And as this happened, we have a email list that she coordinates that probably has 300 or 400 people on it. And she told them about all the games and everything we were up to. But then we have an additional list that is just the team. And even though there must be 8 or 9 nuts of the year, I mean, nobody even is close to what Tina was doing or given to our team. But she was added to our team email list about 2 years ago. It was just easier that way for her to know what was going on. And she referred to it as the locker room. And she told to me all the time how much she appreciated the access and the not because and I don't think she just enjoyed hearing us talk and hearing what was going on in the locker room, and as bad as it got or as good as it got. And anyway, there were so many neat tributes. I wish I had time to tell you some of them. I see some other Playboys in line, but whether you've been on the team for 6 months or 10 years, Tina was the absolute soul of the team. She was the laugh of our team. There's nobody that did not hear her laughing while we were playing. And also, one of our other spiritual leaders on the team, Lalo, I'll quote him from the locker room. He said, let's remember that Tina put the T in A.
That was a good one. My name's Nikki, and what an amazing group of people. So I'm gonna make it happy and not about all of the sad feelings. The last, well, not one of the last, but one of the really great stories most recently was I was having some struggles with my husband, and we decided that we were gonna be really spontaneous. And so we were music lovers, and we decided on a very quick turn time to drive to Houston. This was last fall. And we packed up my mom and the baby, and we got a hotel room in Houston and got tickets the same day to go see Damien Rice. And when Tina found out that I had seen Damien Rice and I went to Houston, she was beside herself because, of course, she would have loved to have gone. But so a week later, she calls me on a Saturday and she says, "Honey, I just had to call you. I'm in Junction, and I'm on my way to Marfa to see Patty Griffin. You inspired me to just go for it." And I'm like, "I inspired you to go for it?" Okay, so I hung up the phone, and I looked at my husband, and I said, Patty Griffin is playing in 8 hours. Can we go? So with an hour to pack, we packed up our kid. I went online to El Cosmico and I rented us a glamping teepee. And Tinsa didn't, we call her Tinsa at my house, I don't know. Everybody probably has their own nickname for her, but my husband somehow decided she was Tinsa Louise. So Tinsa said, "I don't have a place to stay. Get me one of those teepees if there's any left." So I book her a teepee, we get a teepee, we put the kid in the car, we drive off to Marfa, and we just have this sweet adventure, which is all Tina, just like Tina's so crazy. And we're sitting, stage side, 5 feet away from one of my greatest loves as a musician and her greatest loves. And she's dancing with my baby in front of Patty Griffin, who's like 5 feet away from us. And we're sitting under the stars, and just like that is what I remember of my friend, is just always creating, being inspiring. She changed my life in innumerable ways. And I can't even begin to tell you that she was the director of major life intersections for me. I don't even know if I would have had a baby if it hadn't been for her. So that was one of my super fun, memorable moments. We went to Balmoral afterwards with our kid, and it's just, I've been reflecting a lot this week, and I've been taking inventory, and she has taught me to be in my heart, soften, and go for it. What the fuck, man? Just go for it. I mean, I'm sorry if that's my favorite word, and it was her favorite word. But I just want to also just say to her sisters, thank you so much for making this so much easier on us. You've let us be part of this. And it's just not words. It is what it is. And thank you so much It has really helped us a lot. I can speak for myself and others. Thanks, you guys.
I'm so happy to be here. This is making such a big difference to me in saying goodbye to Tina. I'm April, and Tina was my best friend. And we were putting on some events, and there was going to be a change of venue, so I was thinking about what I needed, and I asked Tina to be my own personal Pied Piper of Hamelin. And I asked her, would you lead the people over the one block up and one block over to the coffee shop? Just lead them that way and get the party started, and we'll be there soon. And so she did that for me a couple of times, and I just remember we closed the coffee shop down. I mean, they kicked us out at midnight. And that's kind of how it was like to be with her. It was like, we're not stopping until we have to. And another time we went to Black Star Co-op, and the conversation lasted for 2.5 hours, and it just didn't want to stop. The day that I learned about Tina transitioning, I saw this quote, and it was about what to do once someone leaves, and there's a void there. And the upshot is, what will you create in that absence? And I took it as a personal challenge. I'm taking it as like a personal call to action. And I can't wait to see what it is. And I know that Tina would have been really eager to see it too. And I'm so happy that I got to know T-I-N-A, Tina.
This is the most fabulous picture. Y'all see that from the baseball? Right? That's coming out. That's my inspiration. Thank you. I also want to, my name is Leslie. I'm from New York. I'm a very old friend of Tina's. I met her when she was like 18, maybe. Yes, we met in Parsons School of Design. We met at a class in painting silk. So she and I and a friend of ours, Katrina, learned how to paint silk together. And I'm sure that you all have seen the beautiful things she makes, dyes and beautiful things that she's drawn, and you will see that, I'm sure. Tina was a very romantic person. And when we first met her, she was wearing high-collared Victorian clothing. Literally her mumsy's clothes. So she was actually wearing Victorian clothing, like not things that look like Victorian clothing, and she was very, very shy, very tall, 6 feet tall, and she laughed, but she didn't have that belly laugh yet, you know, and hearing about that fantastic laugh that she had. That's something that she became. I was there when she was becoming, right? And Katrina was our Norwegian friend, and she was a little bit older, like 5 years older. And she had lived all over the world and spoke 4 languages and was a fashion designer. And then we met Nick. I don't know if some of you met Nick, but Nick Sheridan was a friend of ours. We also met in Parsons. And we would just go dancing, go to school, go dancing till 7 o'clock in the morning, show up at 9 for class. Literally we would do all-nighters, and we'd go out dancing, and she'd have this huge car, and she would find a parking space in New York City, and she would just go, whoop, whoop, and it was like 3 inches here and 3 inches there, but we'd always find a beautiful parking space, and she drove us with that top down, huge buildings looking at the stars, and I have all these other things, but she was really romantic. She wanted to live, you know, she wanted to come to New York to live and experience things, and that's what we did. We did that together, and well, I'll tell one little story. So sometimes we would walk around at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and if things were very, very quiet then. And we found this bowling alley was like it was a roller skating rink. And we went in, it was music playing. It was like very early in the morning, and we go in and there's this roller skating rink, and they were playing Motown. And so we started like, wow, this is a great place. What's this doing here? It's in the middle of nowhere. So we started going there every night to go dancing at the roller rink. But we wouldn't roller skate, we just danced there. And so, and it was called Heartbreak. Remember Heartbreak? So like nobody knew about Heartbreak, and getting into clubs in New York was a really big thing, you know, and so we would have these 6'8", like Norwegians going into clubs, and so everybody was tall, you know. But we found Heartbreak, and we made that into this amazing club, and everybody'd show up to dance. And by the time that we left going there, you couldn't even get in there. And we knew that was what it was like. And Tina and I and Katrina and Nick and all the other friends there, we would dance and we would sing. She would sing in the car. And we'd go on long trips. Anyway, we went to Paris for summer school, and then we went to Egypt. And she and I got into a terrible accident, and we almost died in the middle of the desert. And there was no hospital. We went to an Egyptian military hospital, and I thought she would die because she couldn't breathe. I thought like her kidneys had been poked or something. But we survived that, and when we finished that, she blossomed into this amazing goddess creature, and she just took flight, and she just never stopped traveling. And I gotta say, Austin is a cool town, man. This is a great town, and it's a lot like all the places she's ever lived, you know? It's got that kind of quality, and it feels really nice to be here, and thank you for being her really good friend and loving her, and thanks, sorry, I've talked too much.
I am Annika Bolding, and my aunt gave me something wonderful. She gave me my passion for artwork. When I found out about her passing, I was heartbroken. Later, I went to my room, and I kind of think that writing is a form of art, and my Aunt Pam, she gave me a photo album for my birthday. And I had never quite found a use for it. But then I did, so I took a piece of paper and I wrote a letter to her. I think I wrote about 3. Then later, we were at my grandmother's house. I was looking out on the mountains, and there's these little rocks. I found one that looked like her. Like they were all in a row, like they were walking on the top of the mountain. And I had a thought. It's kind of a phrase, but I thought, she's on the hike to heaven. Nowadays, every time I draw something or set pencil to paper, I think of her. I love her.
My name is Anders Porter, and I'm not one of Tina's oldest friends. I may be one of Tina's newest friends. I had the pleasure of meeting Tina through my sister-in-law, Jessie, about 5 or 6 years ago at an event called Swaying a Go-Go, and it was very similar first sighting experience that I think happens with many, many people, all of you in this room included, of course, which are somewhere along the lines of hair, tequila, laughter and love at first sight. And that stuck with me as it did with all of you. And so, obviously, her passing has been a thought provoker and a challenge to deal with for me and for everyone here. Earlier today, my daughter Frankie was a little fussy at the very beginning of the ceremony, so I took her outside and we sat over here in this beautiful open area. And it suddenly felt like something made sense, and what made sense was that Tina was there. Like Tina felt it was all encompassing, and it felt like she was all there. And I realized what did that, for me anyway, was all of you. It was about being around the people whom Tina influenced, touched, and brought magic to. And therefore, all I really wanted to say was I wanted to pay tribute to all of you, because I think that what she has been able to do is to touch each and every one of you, and now that is going everywhere. And it's just something that I think that she's very aware of, and she's watching right now, and she's laughing about. So thank you all very much.
Last one, I think. I'm Lucy, and one of the great privileges of my life has been to live at 64 Navasota Street for the last 6 years, with Tina as our neighbor at 84 Navasota Street. I'm only a public speaker with a script, so I'm just going to read a message that I posted to her this morning on Facebook, because she often told me that she hadn't checked Facebook for weeks. Teeny, you were my compass. 2 blocks north, I relied on you for directions of all kinds. Sometimes through your wise words, always through your example. A dear friend, a neighbor, our cat sitter, realtor, role model, cheerleader, confidant, life and soul of our parties. Travis County Court even thought she was our lawyer once. She kind of was. It was an everyday joy to share a street with you. I will work on accepting that we will never enjoy another moment over our fence, you waving vigorously from your convertible, hair bouncing, shouting encouragements, filling the street with your famous laugh. I will work on accepting that at the next South by Southwest Ladies Brunch, you won't show up half an hour early, laden with antique silverware, and start cooking bacon without asking, because you know exactly what needs to be done. I will work on accepting that Miles, who is only just beginning to love you, will only know you from stories now. And I will never forget that 5 years ago to this day, we were sharing a magical afternoon in England. Friends and family from all over remember the tall, gregarious American with a presence like no other. Our wedding wouldn't have been the same without you, and our life on Navasota Street won't be either. My dad told Robbie and I that in the course of legal discussions in England, they often employ the term Tina. They use it as shorthand for this. There is no alternative.
My name is Charles Escutia. Many of y'all may not know me. You may consider Tina your agent, but she really was my agent. I'm actually her broker. You would think I'm her boss, but I don't think Tina had a boss. Tina, as a broker, I teach my agents to become the best selves that they can be. Tina already had that taken care of. So I teach my agents to build relationships and have friends and run your business with the people who know you, like you, and trust you, and she got that one taken care of too. as an organization, we're going to miss her, and we appreciate having her while we did.
I loved Aunt Tina so much because she was a good aunt, and I really wanted to say that she was a really great aunt, and I loved her a lot.
This is going to be utterly inarticulate, and I know you guys don't care, so. Somebody said thank you. I don't know who it was, but that's all I want to say is thank you, each and every one of you, for being her best friend and for reflecting back all the love that she had for you. Because it's here in this room today, and it's so beautiful. And this is so, she's so with us in spirit with all of the love that's in this room. It's for those of you who have been here for the week and who've been running the shows, not just one, not just two, not just three. I mean, there's so much love here, it's overflowing. And that's all.
Change things up a bit. I was going to play a Willie Nelson song and Angels Flying Too Close to the Ground, which of course describes Tina perfectly. But then I decided what I really remember and loved about Tina most was her laugh. And I'm not sure if I ever got to play this song for her, but if I did, I know she would know when to laugh. And yeah, here we go. And I'm talking about Tina's behind in this song, so just so you know. I hopped on an aeroplane. Across the sky I lit the flame. High above imaginary lines. Going to see my love. Well, sitting still is hard to do when I'm on my way to you. Passing through imaginary lines. Going to see my love. Oh, how I miss you and long to kiss you, hold your hand and be complicit. When I'm away from you, I'd rather do hard time. Yeah, maybe we'll start a band together. You can wear those pants of leather that fit you like my hand on your behind. I jumped in my beat-up car. I don't think it'll make it far. So I'll say imaginary line and pray to see my love. Oh, how I miss you and long to kiss you, hold your hand and be complicit. When I'm away from you, I'd rather do hard time. Yeah, maybe we'll start a band together. You can wear those pants of leather that fit you like my hand on your behind. hopped on an old freight train. I can't wait another day, passing through imaginary lines. I'm going to see my love, going to see my love. Oh yeah, going to see my love. Thank you.
A remodulation of the cells according to higher assignments in a soul's progression. The spirit doesn't die, but rather enters new channels of life. Our relationships are not severed at death, but refocused beyond physical connection. Marianne Williamson.
Communication does not stop with the destruction of the physical body. True communication rests on more than what is said or heard physically. When someone has died, we must speak with them differently than we did before. But in staying open to the possibility of an eternal life force, we direct our minds to develop the capacity for a transphysical conversation.
Just a little more from Marianne Williamson. This is what death should be, a quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the daughter of God along the way she goes to God. We thank the body then for all the service it has given us, but we're thankful too the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden form and clearly seen at most in lovely flashes. Now we can behold her without blinders in the light that we have learned to look upon again. We call it death, but it is liberty. It does not come in forms that seem to be thrust down in pain upon unwilling flesh, but as a gentle welcome to release. If there has been true healing, this can be the form in which death comes when it is time to rest a while from labor gladly done and gladly ended. Now we go in peace to freer air and gentler climate, where it is not hard to see the gifts we gave were saved for us. For Christ is clearer now, his vision more sustained in us, his voice the word of God, more certainly our own. This gentle passage to a higher prayer, a kind forgiveness of the ways of earth, can only be received with thankfulness.
As a final word from her, a little shorter prayer from Tina. Again, Tina's words. Only my heart knows that all of life is sacred, and to enter the sacred is to pray. It matters not what I say or how I arrive at the altar of sacred experience or what beliefs I have. What is common to all sacred moments is surrender of the human condition to possibilities beyond estimation and comprehension. My prayers act on energies and engage my will. The more I accept, the deeper the stillness, the more focused my attention is. Heavenly oneness with the divine. My life is about fulfillment, satisfaction, and joy, and the continuing expression of who I truly am. And because this was a letter to friends when she was on the road, it ends. I love you all. Send big hug and kisses. Tina. Take us out, Jimmy.
Thank you, Marie.
Ready?
For Tina.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Uy. Tina, la cacahuate, la más alta. Tú sí que eres la reina de esta gala. Manejas tú un combi, pero ay, qué chido. Cabello chinito y negro, eres la más alta. Ay, cuando tenemos triste y sentimos bla, tú sigues gritando ra, ra, ra. Ay, 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 Tina, la cacahuate más alta que todas, nuestra Tina. Ay, te quiero. Te cantaremos cuando tenemos triste y sentimos bla. Ah, tú sigues gritando ra, ra, ra. Ay, 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 Tina, nuestra cacahuate, la más alta que todas, nuestra Tina. Te cantaremos, Tina. Tina, Tidita, ay, Tina.